It's a blessing to be in the house of the Lord. Amen? Dragon, Satan, is enraged with the woman, with the church that keeps the commandments of Christ. I want to share with you a story for the big kids as well. It's a story of a king who had no children. And the king decided to choose one of the kids that will be faithful. But how do you know? So it was a test that was given to all the children as they show up, and they give them a seed, and they had to plant the seed, and the individual who had the biggest and the most beautiful flower, it was the chosen one. So each of the child received a seed, and they went back home, and there was a very poor child, but he was a farmer. He knew how to take care of the seeds. And he put the seed in the best fertile soil. He watered it. He put it on the sun. He made everything possible that the seed will come to life. Days after days went by, and the seed didn't show anything, any sign of being alive. The father advised him, you have to put him in a different soil. So he put him in a different soil. They put more fertilizers and more things on top of the seed, but nothing showed up. The child started to be stressed. The child started to have nightmares. He considered himself as being the failures, because all the other the children, when he was going to school, all of them, they were proud. Oh, the seed and the flower, oh, so beautiful. Right now my plant is big, like 1 inch, 2 inches, and it's growing. But he had nothing to share about the seed. He was very sad. After 3 months came, and the king called all the children back. And the king, when he went from individual to individual, each one of them, they were so beautiful, big flowers. And the king says, oh, this is the most beautiful. You might be the chosen one. Oh, no, you can be. And the king was going one by one, and he stopped on the place where he saw this poor little boy, and nothing showed up. It was only the dirt and the pot. And he called the boy, and he said, how did you dare? What did you do to this plant? Nothing showed up. You should be ashamed. And the boy was sad. And the boy did not know how to react. But then the king, to all of them, said, well done and faithful kid. You will be the next king in my place. Because I killed the seed. And you are the only one to be faithful. Today, brothers and sisters, Jesus did not call us to be successful, but to be what? Faithful. What is the difference between successful and faithful? The society today wants us to be the individuals that they want to be. How is success today being seen in the world? Can we define successful individual? A successful individual, according to the standards of this country, is a person who has what? Money. What more? He shows to everybody that he has money, correct? He is wise. In other words, he is the one to have a big house, if a palace is possible, more cars, the most expensive cars. What more? Whatever. He can go on vacation whenever he likes to go. And you see all these cool things on whatever media, Facebook, whatever, putting selfies with him everywhere. And people, by the way, some of them, they have developed, children and young people, they have developed anxieties and stress because they've seen their peers be experiencing so many things, but they have not been in that place. And people, they are looking for success. When the success is in the mind of individuals, they try to do everything possible to do what? to achieve success. But what do you sacrifice to get there? Let's talk about children. In 1960s, a feminist movement started to rise to give the place of the woman and man to be equals in rights in the society. In other words, not only man has to go outside and work the field, but also the woman can do it. And the woman can prove that she can do very good, just like the man. Sometimes better than the man. But what sacrifice? The society right now. The children. Who raised the children? The society is raising the children. We don't have time because you want to be successful. Who raised the children? You send them to the daycare and you have to go to work. I'm talking from my personal experience. I wish my wife can go to work and to have another salary. Because we do need an income. But do we lose something? We sacrifice our children. It's a big need to have successful, to have a big thing, to have cars, to have everything. This is a success according to the society. But the society is the one to raise our children. I was talking to a lawyer a while ago, and I told him that individuals, they spend as much as they can afford. You have more money, you spend more money. You have less money, you spend less money. It's not about the money. It's about the values that you are having. What is success? Some other individuals believe that success is achieving a career. So the pattern of success of this society, United States also, right now is this. An individual has to do what? To go to the best schools. Since they preschool, in school, you have to go to the biggest and the greatest school. Why? You have to go to the higher education or the high school, and has to be a big college then, and after you graduate, do what? Have a good job. What is the danger on this? Am I wrong or right? Everybody wants to have a college degree, correct? But let me tell you something very important. When you hear the society, congratulations, you made it. You become just like whom? The society. Have you heard this? Congratulations. I'm not against education. I myself have a master's degree. I want to have a PhD later on by God's grace, whatever other studies might be. I'm not against education or being graduated. But when the society says, well done, you just became like them. Have you thought about it? Because if you pursue the same goal, the same dreams that the society has, you sacrifice your faithfulness. To what? So today we talk about faithfulness versus success. The society today wants, have you wondered why 5% of the American citizens own 95%? 5%, they own, according to studies, 5% they own everything, 95%. We, 95%, we work for the 5% of the elite. They are the ones to create college degrees, curriculum. They are the ones to hire the best professionals. They are the ones to do everything because they want you to work for them. And they define what success is. They define what success is. What do you sacrifice for that? God has not called us to be successful. God has called us to be what? Faithful. What is the difference between successful and faithful? I traveled around the world more or less, and I've been to the Amazon River, where success in that culture is to be able to eat, to have something to eat, and to have fun with your family and friends. It's not measured on houses or cars. I've been to the most remote villages in the Amazon River. Very, very remote. Independent from all the other villages. Living in the unknown. And they're happy. Because they're not chasing for success as we perceive success. You will never be happy when you chase success. Because you will never have success. Unless you are what? Faithful. Do you know anybody who was successful in God's sight in the Bible? What about Isaiah? Isaiah was one of the most successful individuals in the Old Testament. Do you know how he died, Isaiah? Isaiah, he died in a tree. Manasseh, the king, if I'm not wrong, he's chasing him. He's found him hiding in the tree. And he ordered all his soldiers to cut the tree together with Isaiah. So they cut him in half, and he died in the most painful situation. Was he a successful individual according to God or according to society? He was a failure according to society, correct? But he is the most faithful individual. By the way, the book of Isaiah is called the Gospel of Isaiah because it's divided into 37 passages speaking about Israel, is related to the Old Testament, and there are 27 passages, 27 chapters, speaks about the Messiah. It's the Gospel of Isaiah. What about Abraham? Abraham was what? A very rich individual. How he started? He was in Babylon. By the way, he was in Ur, Chaldea. And the Sumerians, as you know, some of you know, Sumerians, they were the high elite society in the time. They were the one to invent the beer that people drink today, alcohol. They invented the beer. They invented, including the electric, I read a document, electric battery in that time. What about the hydraulic pumps to push the water on the top of the building, cigarettes is called, whereas they were pumping the water to water the plants, the trees, atop of hundreds of feet. They were high elite individuals, and God is asking Abraham, from that society, come out. I want you to be faithful to me. He had to leave everything behind, including his family, his friends, to go to a place where you and me, we don't want to go. I know you say Canaan was the best place to live, correct? False. Canaan in the historical, in today's time, is the same, has nothing changed geography. It's a dry land, it's a stony, rocky land, correct? It is not like Egypt, for instance, or Babylon, where the gardens, the water, for instance, Egypt, as you know, some of you know, the Nile was flooding the gardens, and they were so prosperous, the land was so fertile, that you did not need the rain to come down from heaven. You just put the seed in the ground and just step with the leg on it, and it was watering, and it was coming in the days. It was having crops. It was the most fertile land, Egypt. And God said to his people, I will send you to the promised land. And here's the passage in the book of Exodus says this, that you should know, I'm sending you to Canaan, that you should know that land I'm sending you, I will send rain. You live by faith. So wait a minute, Abraham. You go from a most prosperous country, prosperous empire, to a land that doesn't produce anything but only depends on God. How would you feel? Would you be faithful, or you want to be successful? Successful people today, as the society describes, they lose and sacrifice their lives to work all your life, to work your family, to destroy your marriage, because you want to be successful. And this is why the rate of divorce in Tidewater area, the single mothers in Tidewater area is 35%. Let me say it again. Single mothers in Tidewater area, according to some statistics, is 35%. What do we sacrifice? Because we want to be successful. And today I want to share with you a topic from the Bible, which God is asking us to be faithful to Him. Success is, by the society, is sacrificing values, sacrificing life, sacrificing our children. And God wants us to be faithful, not successful. And here's the passage of the Bible that I want to share with you. It's Revelation chapter 12. We are in our Bible study in the book of Revelation chapter 12. Last time we shared a little bit on that. But today we will read from verse 13 to all the way to the book to verse 17. Revelation chapter 12, verse 13. Now when the dragon saw that he has been cast to the earth, He persecuted the woman who gave birth to the male child. So we have a dragon. Who is the dragon? It's Satan. Okay? Chasing for whom? For the woman, the symbol of the Bible, symbol of the book of Revelation, for the woman is the church, the Christian church, who gave birth to the male child, in other words, is Jesus, okay? And verse 14, but the woman was given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness to her place where she is nourished for a times and a half of the time for the presence of the serpent. In other words, she is chasing the woman, the church, that God has hidden her in the dried places, wild wilderness, for 1,260 days, which are years. And this is about the period of time of the dark ages. We don't have too much time to develop on this, but I will be happy to talk to you and to have more other Bible studies in the future. But verse 15 says, so the serpent spewed water out of his mouth like a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away by the flood. So the intention of Satan from the beginning was to do what? To destroy any trace of faithfulness of God's people. And in the beginning in heaven, as you know, some of you, Satan, Lucifer, wanted to be what? Faithful or successful. In the book of Isaiah chapter 14, I want to share with you a very important thing, because we are caught today by the cultural setting of the time in a mindset of becoming successful. We want to be successful. But success has its price. And in the book of Isaiah chapter 14, verses 12 to 14, as you know, some of you, let's read it right now. Isaiah chapter 14, verse 12 says, how are you fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? You are cut down to the ground, you who weaken the nations. For you have said in your heart, I will do what? I will ascend. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will also sit on the mount of the congregation, on the farthest side of the north. The picture here on the mount of the congregation, it's where God's throne is. And he wanted to put his throne above God. I will ascend above the heads of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. What is the main topic here? I want to be successful. I want to be successful. So everybody look at me. You see, in every human being, each one of us, we want to prove something to our peers, to our church, to our family members, that we can do it. We can be successful. We want to prove that to everybody. Each one of us has something in his heart that it's appealing, the selfishness, it's the ego. We want to prove something. It's not bad to be a successful individual as God wants you to be. But the society is the one to portray what success is. And when it's successful chased by the society, you lose values and you lose sometimes your faith. God is asking us to be faithful. So this individual wants to be what? He wants to be successful. He wants to be the most beautiful, the above the stars, and everything started in heaven. But in the book of Revelation, right now, Satan is looking, in verse 14 again, 15, the serpent spewed water out of his mouth like a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away by the flood. So what happened? In the wilderness, as you know very well, Roman Catholic Church, for 60 years, 1,260 years, tried to persecute and to push, to force all of those who were keeping God's law, they were keeping God's commandments, try to push them to be like them. So what happened? They began to persecute. And some of you know about the Waldensians. Have you heard about the Waldensians? A very wonderful tribe, village in France and Italy. And I've been to one of the mountains in Monte Pellice, Torre Pellice is called, where you go in the mountain and you have a small hole, a cave, and you have to crawl a few feet. And then when you crawl, you find a big, beautiful sanctuary in the mountain. And you have a small hole at the top of the ceiling, and that gives the light of the sun. And there is a pulpit, and you still see the place where the torches, they were placed there to have light. And it's called, some of you know, one day the Roman Catholic Church found out about this. They were having tunnels, underground tunnels, that they go from Italy, France, and Switzerland to Germany as well. So they had underground trails. It's amazing to go there and to visit if you have the possibility. But one day, Roman Catholic Church, they put smoke, burned fire, and the smoke went inside and killed 50,000 individuals. Only one day. They tried to get rid of them as much as they could. But brothers and sisters, one of the most dangerous things that has started in the 17th century is called the Counter-Reformation. Have you heard about the Counter-Reformation? Roman Catholic Church was not happy when Martin Luther has called Pope the Antichrist. And soon the Protestant churches arose. All the fathers of the church, of the Protestant or the church, they spoke about the prophecy of the book of Daniel, the book of Revelation. And Roman Catholic Church was not happy. So in the 24 or 21, the Roman Catholic Church invented or had the first Vatican, where they had to have a counter-reformation. And what happened? They invented two things that are very important. One is how to remove the Bible from the hands of people. And right now we call it liberal theology. Have you heard about liberal theology? Right now, many people, including the Seventh-day Adventist churches in Europe, there are 3-4 seminaries that they are teaching that the Bible, it is not inspired by God. It is a book, just like any other book, like Buddhism, Confucianism, or whatever. It's a philosophical book. And it's also, they teaches evolution. Okay, so the floods that Satan is trying to cover. And the other one is to remove and to divert the mind of the individuals from the prophecy that the Pope is not the Antichrist, but the Antichrist is coming in the future, which is called futurism, or the Antichrist has passed preterism. In other words, the Bible doesn't speak about Pope being the Antichrist. Nevertheless, it is very clear. Every human being who reads in the Bible, in the book of Daniel chapter 2, Daniel chapter 7, Daniel chapter 8, it's clear that Pope, the Roman Catholic Church, it is the Antichrist, the one to fight, to replace God on earth. So what happened was, in verse 16, but the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon has spewed out of his mouth. In other words, God has helped us because we are faithful. And wherever God's people are faithful, God is giving them also to be successful in his eyes. And verse 17 says, and the dragon was enraged with the woman, and he went to make war with the rest of her offspring, who keep the commandments of God, and have what? The testimony of Jesus. In the heaven was war. What was the war about it? It was about the commandments of Christ. And it's interesting to say that Ellen G. White speaks about the fact that in the beginning, Lucifer, in the Great Controversy, page 457, if I'm not wrong, and she says that Lucifer in the beginning, he was on God's side. Hey, I'm doing this to help God. And then he began to create doubt. He planted a seed of doubt in the hearts of the angels. Little by little, the angels began in heaven to fight, to have problems and to have dissension between them. And then he came to say, I am the solution. So he offered himself as the big solution. And if we get rid of the law of God, we will have harmony. We will have peace. We will have everything better. And God had to throw him outside. But all these things has come down to earth. And the Bible says that Satan is enraged with the church, and he went to make war with the rest of her offspring. And those who are doing what? They keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. God is calling for people, for his people today, to be faithful, not successful. Success today by the society means to sacrifice your life, to sacrifice your marriage, to sacrifice the society, to sacrifice your brother and sister, to look for the most and to look only for what you want, disregarding everybody else. Nevertheless, God's people today, they are looking to be faithful. There is a story in Poland, 1945, the end of the Second World War. Many fathers have left behind children. They went to the war and never came back. Natalia was one of those who had 5 children. Natalia was a Seventh-day Adventist. And Natalia, she knew that God will take care of her. Every day was going and passing. She had no food for her children. Every day she was praying, and God was providing something for her. Sometimes the children would not eat for one day, but the following day God was faithful, and the neighbors, they were giving her something to eat. One day came the news that the Americans are coming, and they bring with them also supplies and food for them. They were so happy, the 5 children, they were so happy that finally they will have plenty of food for them. But the news came that all the distribution of the food will be on the Sabbath. And Natalia said, Lord, you know that I'm not going to work. I'm not going to take the food. It's a work. I want to be faithful to you. All the children, they were so happy that the Sabbath is coming and finally they will have food. But Natalia was crying. And she left in the separate room. And she didn't want to say to her children what she decided, not to go to take the food. Friday came, night. And Natalia could not sleep all night. In the morning, at 5 o'clock in the morning, the little one, the smallest one, he came, jumped in the bed, and he saw her crying. And he said, Mommy, why are you crying? And she said, I want to talk to all the kids. So put them all the kids together and said, children, God is calling us to be faithful to his commandments. I know we are all hungry. We have not eaten for days. Well, sometimes we have eaten, we have not eaten. And I want to share with you, I want to say that we are not going to take the food today because God is asking us to be faithful, keeping his commandments. They were sad, all of the children, because some of them, they have not understand. 2 years, 3 years old, not understand. But the biggest boys, they understood, said, Mommy, whatever you decide, if the Lord has been faithful to us, he will be giving us food. 9 o'clock came, nothing, no miracle. The children, they were starving, they were hungry right now because they were awake for 4 hours. At 10 o'clock in the morning, the door ring. Natalia, open the door. She opened the door, the neighbor. She said, I knew that you are not going to take the food because you are Seventh-day Adventists, so I took it for you. Open the door. The blessing of the food was there on the floor. The children, they were so happy because there were so cookies also, some drinks. They love it. 10:30 came, another individual. Natalia, open the door. No. Okay. We knew that you are not coming. Therefore, we took more food for you. And we decided that our family, it's enough for us. The bottom line is that in that day, she had food for many months because she was faithful to Christ. Brothers and sisters, that Satan is enraged with the woman, with the church, with individuals, that they are not compliant, they are not going by the success of this world, but they want to be faithful to God in every detail of their lives. And God is calling you today to the same, to be faithful to Him. What is your decision? What is your decision? And if your decision is to be faithful to Christ in every detail of your life, in returning the tithes and offerings, in Sabbath school classes, in the work that you are going to, or whatever business you might go, God is asking you to be faithful in every small detail,